to the association on the assumption that it was going to be a required yearly treatment, or was it sold on the assumption that one treatment would be sufficient to prevent allergy for a number of years? And that's a question that I don't think anybody can really answer. I've asked a number of people, and nobody really knows what the idea of the treatment was.
I can answer that.
Okay, well, that's the answer. Okay.
When we were told about the product, we couldn't afford to do it all in 1 year. It's just way too expensive, so we split it up over 2 years. And we were told it should last at least 5 years with no treatments. And then after 5 years, we may have to give it a little shot now and then to keep everything good.
So again, we go back to the rare report where it says, check the nutrients on the lake before you apply any of these nutrient activation materials. Probably if they were checked, and if that's the premise for the treatment, that you're going to get 3 or 4 years of control out of it, the treatment probably shouldn't be performed. But again, if the premise was you were just going to get 1 year control out of it, then you can say that the treatment was a success. So what are we looking at for 2015? Next slide. What we want to do, you see there's problems with a lot of the nutrient inactivation products that are out there. Alum is really the most widely used nutrient inactivation product in the United States. The reason it's used is very simple to apply. It's been used for years and years and years. It's very effective. But the problem with it is you're applying an unnatural element to the environment, alum, aluminum. And along with aluminum, you're also increasing a lot of the salts in the lake system as part of that treatment scenario. So what we want to do is we want to go back to Mother Nature. And what we want to do, we want to use the natural occurring iron that's already in the lake, apply additional iron to the lake, and we want to apply an oxidizing agent to the lake, which is going to cause the iron to form a flock. The iron will then precipitate out the phosphorus that's in the lake, very similar to what phosphate does, very similar to what alum does. You sink to the bottom of the lake, and you should have clear water for the entire season. The problem is this is experimental. It's done in Europe, it's done in Canada, but there really isn't much use of this type of technology in the United States, simply because alum is the preferred mode in the United States, because it's a simple product to apply. But this material here, all the materials we're using are natural to the lake. They're using iron, you're using hydrogen, you're using oxygen. There's not going to be any sulfides added to the lake. There's not going to be any additional material added to the lake. There's no salt solution. You result in elevated levels of chloride, sodium, and sulfide ions. So this is really probably the most natural approach to trying to control nutrients within the lake system. Okay, next. Part of what we want to do here is we also want to do a little bit more monitoring. So we want to start monitoring sometime in April and go through November. We want to take some core samples to determine if the phosphate treatment did actually seal the bottom settings of the lake. I don't know of anybody that's done it. And if the phosphate didn't seal the bottom of the lake, well then there's another additional problem we've got to look at again, is the recirculation of nutrients from the bottom settings back up in the lake column. The other thing we want to do is we want to do a temperature profile. We want to see, number one, is the lake stratified? And if it is stratified, are those bottom waters, cold waters, below the thermocline, void of oxygen or anoxygen, causing the phosphorus to be recirculated back into the water column? And we also started doing some bathymetric and sediment composition sampling. Next slide, please. This is the latest bathymetric map of Lake Lorraine. I think we found the deepest hole at around 13 feet. The darker blue area on the Herrera report is basically the lake bottom that is susceptible below oxygen. So you're looking at probably 50% of the lake bottom is susceptible below oxygen levels, if the aerators are not open. Okay, next. The other thing we've already done is we've done a sediment composition of the lake bottom. If you look at the scale on the left, the really light gray areas are very soft muck. You get up into the deeper red areas, it's part of the hard sand. So it just gives you a pretty good representation of where the soft areas are of the lake and where the hard sand areas are of the lake.
So what did, look, I didn't catch, which one is which? The orange is the soft?
The orange and the red is the harder material.
Oh.
The gray area is the soft material, the soft muck.
And the hard material is the bad material, or?
Well, the hard material is the good material. The hard material would be like rocks or that type of substrate. Whereas the other material is soft, organic muck. Next slide. Okay, so there is a contingency plan. If for some reason that the treatment with the iron is not successful, we would then go back to monthly treatments of the algae with algicides. And the two algicides that we would look at would be Hydrofor 191 and Green Clean. Green Clean is basically PAC 27. It's just another brand name for that material. Hydrofor 191 is used on Silicon Lake. And it's probably used in over 60% of the lakes in Washington State to control algae problems.
That monthly treatment only be from April, or would it be all 12 months?
Well, what we're going to anticipate is that if treatments are performed, you're not going to need anything later in the season because of the fact that the water is going to cool down, and the algae growth is going to subside. Algae monitoring is really a critical part of when you try and do an algae treatment. When I go back to the files, I don't know what type of monitoring was done before algae treatments were performed on the lake, but it's critical that they're performed at very specific times. Because if you miss that window, like you did last year or this year when you had a huge bloom, you're in an uphill battle and you're fighting it the entire year. One of the problems associated with Lake Lorraine is that it's a very, very small project. And unfortunately, when you look at the economics and the general commercialism of this particular industry, it's a small project, so it's really not a high priority project. In other words, if you're going to be out treating a 320-acre lake and Lake Lorraine is blooming, and the dollars are up in the 320-acre lake, where do you think the crew is going to go? They're going to go north. So I think that's part of one of the problems that was associated with Lake Lorraine. It was just timing of the treatments were not adequate. And I worked with Gary Lott on this, and I'll tell you, Gary's really worked hard on it. And we basically guaranteed Gary that when a treatment is required on this lake, we will be here. And we're pretty sure it's never going to get as good as it did last year. Now, we're not trying to make Lake Lorraine look like Lake Tahoe. What we're trying to do is make it a better recreational lake for everybody on it. And that's where the algae monitoring really comes in. It's very important. The blue-green algae have a tendency to store very slowly in the season. And you can monitor them, and we take algae counts. But there is a time of the year where all the studs may just explode. And you want to catch the bloom or the growth cycle before it explodes. Final slide. If everything works out in Lake Lorraine, what we hope is that we're going to increase the recreational opportunities of the lake. And obviously, we're not going to have the well-driven cruises out on the middle of Lake Lorraine. But we do anticipate that the residents will be able to use the lake for all the both, canoeing, fishing, swimming, do not experience the type of problems that are just shown below. So if there's any other,
Did you say how your treatment is going to be applied? And if you did, I missed it. And then will it always be applied in the same manner?
yes, basically what happens with the zero valent iron product, and that's the name of it, is that there is a iron slurry that is applied at the same time an oxidizing agent is applied to the way. It's inject,
Sprayed or?
well, it's mixed, but there's injection manifolds on a pontoon boat. A small barge boat is injected about 6 inches below the water surface. The iron is injected on the top, and the oxidizing agent is injected below, so the iron will float down through the oxidizing agent.
Okay, slurry implies it's got some substance or viscousness to it.
Well,
So
we-
how long will it sit like on top?
well, it's
of
not going to sit on top of the
You
boat.
said something like something inches below the water surface. How long will it sit at that? Or just immediately?
It's going to sink to the bottom. We're dealing with powdered iron,
Okay,
so, iron sinks.
all right.
So it'll sink. The other material is a liquid. So
Well,
it's,
there's two different things.
Wait, can I interrupt just a second? So, some of these questions may need to be recorded so that John here can take them into account when he is out.